Welcome back, where real estate is in focus. A recent report by Knight Frank shows the Indian real estate market witnessed robust growth across segments in 2022. This despite regular interest rate hikes throughout the year. Residential sales, in fact, hit a 9-year high in the year gone by. To discuss demand trends in the realty space and what 2023 holds, we are now joined by Gulam Zia, the Senior Executive Director at Knight Frank. Gulam, good afternoon. Thank you so much for joining us. Well, you've spoken in the report about a broad-based growth across all the segments as well. So we'll touch base on each of them. But let me start with residential real estate, because a 9-year high in terms of growth is what we are seeing here. What does 2023 really look like? Which are the geographies which will see some growth? Because we are seeing increased traction in the likes of NCR, which was seeing some slump in the years gone by, and something like Ahmedabad as well, because that has been the focus point. Where are these bigger developers really focusing on, and which could be the growth markets from here on?
Look, your first question is what do we see 2023 panning out like? And well, at least our house view is that the transactions will not be affected as much, because it's based on the last quarterly results and the last 6 monthly transaction numbers as well, which are in spite of at least 3 or 4 consecutive rate hikes in the home loan interest rates. And the market is not yet showing any fatigue or not really going down anywhere. So that gives us some comfort to state that going forward as well in 2023, while there is expectation that the rate hikes will truncate and the last one is already in front of us. So that is also giving us additional comfort that the buyers have taken the home loan interest rate hikes in their stride. So 2023 is not going to be way different than 2022, which has been a 9-year best, as you spoke about earlier. So now talking about your specific question about which locations shall do better than the rest. Well, let me tell you, the big numbers still come from the cities like Mumbai, Delhi and Bengaluru. And let's not forget, NCR region has done phenomenally well, almost about 40% growth year on year, which is, of course, because about 5-6 years back, 7 years back, market in NCR have really suffered a lot. So it is coming back, but then it's getting back with a bang. So what we're expecting may happen in 2-3 years has happened in 1 year in terms of NCR getting back on track. So the big numbers that we're expecting that shall come through in 23 as well will be NCR to watch out for. Bengaluru and Mumbai have shown good growth, but will remain, not as big a number as NCR will show. You spoke about Ahmedabad. Yes, Ahmedabad has shown both transaction volume shooting up. In fact, Ahmedabad has shown the highest price rise in last year or so. But on both these counts, Ahmedabad is still a smaller market compared to the large ones like Mumbai, Delhi and Bengaluru, etc. So the focus shall remain on the top 3 markets, 1 or 2 markets which are to be watched or to be focused on also alongside. 1 is Ahmedabad and 2 is Hyderabad. Hyderabad has also shown phenomenal results in last year, and we are expecting it to continue even in Hyderabad. Over to you.
What should we expect, Gulam, from the budget? Are there any kind of SOPs that you are asking for? What would the demands be from the real estate industry?
There are 2-3 things which have always been there. Mostly they are not accepted. The biggest one I am looking at, or I'm observing for last at least 15 years, is the demand that this should be given the industry status. And of course, a lot of expectations related to that, because fund flow, etc., will be cheaper and so on. But that hasn't happened so far. Whether it happens or not, anybody's guess. If it hasn't happened in last 10 years, would it happen now? Anybody's guess. The other 2 or 3 things that are important are some respite in the interest regime for the salaried people. When you're taking home loans, etc., your income tax has to be released a bit for giving them some more respite to buy more houses and take home loans. So that is something which we are expecting. But that's it. Let me also make one point amply clear. In last 7-8 years, a lot of things have happened in the policy framework. So whether you talk about regulator or you talk about things like setting up a separate fund to salvage the bad projects, etc., the Swami SBI fund, a lot of activities, a lot of things have happened. Both supply side, demand side initiatives have happened from the government side. So that is perhaps the reason why, besides the overall economic improvement, last year was a bumper year, because of those things have at last fallen in place, and now things have started flowing into the sector. So expecting much more, honestly speaking, I'm personally not expecting a lot from the government, because they have done much more and more than what they should have done earlier. But still, demands are there. Let us see how much of them are met with.
Okay, so demands are there. How much will be met is something that we'll be watching out for. The other spaces, warehousing and commercial real estate. We've been talking about these layoffs that we are seeing across the IT sector. Of course, not in India, but global tech names as well. Is that something which will be seeing an impact on the commercial real estate? And also warehousing. What is the potential here? Are there more additions expected in 2023 itself?
Okay, let me start with the good news first. The warehousing sector had a bumper year last year, and you don't see much of a letdown or any slowdown even in 2023. Warehousing shall continue because of the whole consumption. The local Indian consumption has been growing a lot, whether it is upper end, mid end, or lower end. All segments are consuming, and that's where the warehousing and logistics industry is showing great results. The best, almost about 50 odd million square feet was absorbed last year, 2022. We are expecting it to continue in 23 also, with a lot of large infra projects coming in, like the dedicated freight corridor. Lots of MMLPs are opening up. The Chennai one is already done. At least 4 more are on the block. So a lot of these things are happening, which will give a huge boost to the warehousing sector. So good news for warehousing sector shall continue. Coming down to the office, while current year 2022 did see a great number, like almost about 52 million square feet of absorption, which is the second best historically. But still, the global economic concerns, etc., are clouding the time ahead, a quarter or two ahead. And that is something which is giving us also some concerns that this 52 may shrink to 45, 46 million in 23. And that is back because of the overall global concerns. As you rightly said, Indian economy, not much to worry about. Local consumption, local story is going strong, but the global impact will definitely be felt on the office space absorption. So as I said, there is expected shrinkage in the following year. It will not be that huge. And once again, let me be one more point to be put across. If the global concerns are taken care of, whether it is the Russia-Ukraine war and a couple of other recessionary trends shown in the Western economies, if they are taken care of, then the bounce back will be faster than expected. But all said and done, we are expecting some slowdown in office sector in 23. Back to you.
Gulam, what percentage of our office real estate space is occupied by MNCs, which is where the concern is rising from?
Well, the main concern, first of all, let me qualify this, that whatever layoffs you're talking about are essentially in IT sector, technology sector. And that sector, the share of that sector in the overall office sector of the country, which is almost about touching 800 million, has shrunk to below 50%. There was a time when almost about 80-85% per annum absorption used to happen in IT. That has come down to almost about 40-45%, and that is giving us comfort that the other sectors have taken up a lot, whether it is manufacturing. A lot of other sectors have actually come up to take up office spaces, and that's a music to ears. And that's what, if your question is about MNCs alone, I would say let's qualify. It's not just MNCs, but the IT or technology related MNCs which we have to worry about. And that share, in my view, would not be more than 25-30%.
Okay, but that's still a sizable number. And what about startups, right? Even startups are going through a winter, a liquidity winter, funds have dried up. Do you see the office spaces leased by startups also coming down significantly?
Well, the startups are typically getting into the incubation space, which in our local parlance is the sharing offices kinds of WeWorks, etc., that we're talking about are the ones where the startups are going. But that said, let me also highlight that last year startups, the share office spaces have taken the greatest of the space. Almost about 23% of the overall space absorption was in that segment, which means that the startups are also not showing any concern yet. Only thing is the big the campuses or the large million or two kind of absorptions that used to happen from the big tech players is under a big concern. The startups in any case were not occupying a large space, and hence we are not unduly worried about that.
Okay, all right, Gulam, we take that point. Thank you so much for joining us and detailing what the report really said and what the outlook for 2023 is for various segments of the real estate sector. Let's slip into a short break. On the other side, in our special segment, Mid-Cap Spotlight, we'll focus on rate gain travel technology. Stay tuned.